Dear believer, distrust did not begin with you. Distrust began in the garden. Now let's talk about that. A lot of people think that their struggle with trust means that they are weak. It means that they are damaged beyond repair. It means that they are lacking faith. Distrust is not new. Distrust actually originated in the Garden of Eden. How? I'm glad you asked. The enemy introduced distrust by causing Eve to question the character and intentions of God. In Genesis 3 and 1, the serpent says, did God actually say? That was the beginning. The enemy was planting doubt about whether or not God was truthful, whether or not God was trustworthy, and whether or not God had humanity's best interest at heart. Hey, this is Karen Booth. This is Tea and Truth. And here I am with my lemon and ginger tea. I've got some peppermint dropped in, and I've got lemon juice and turbinado sugar to sweeten. So yesterday I gave you the definition of truth, not truth. I gave you the definition of trust, right? And we said that according to Merriam-Webster, trust is assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. Also dependence on something future or contingent, also known as hope, right? The assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. Now, the enemy comes in to the garden and introduces distrust by saying, did God really say? So now he's got you questioning the character of God. Did he really say it? Was he being truthful? Does he have their best interest at heart? Then he escalates it further by implying that God was withholding something good. And at that moment, blam, distrust enters humanity. And there it is, just sitting out there. So after the fall of man, we entered into a world where pain, betrayal, disappointment, abandonment, loss, manipulation, cruelty, and brokenness exists. And that is the enemy's agenda, tongue-tied, to steal, kill, and destroy. What are we stealing? Your future. What are we killing? Your destiny. What are we destroying? Your influence and all of the people that are connected to you being okay, because you hold the solution to some people and their problems, right? So one of the primary ways that the enemy works his agenda is through distortion, division, destruction, and broken trust. Now, the enemy can only influence because he needs our cooperation to do anything. If I'm going to lie to my mama about something that I did, then I've got to cooperate. The thought to lie to her didn't come to me from God. It came to me from the enemy. If I'd have stayed out and went somewhere that I didn't have no business going. And I and I come in the house and she says, where you been? And your first answer is nowhere. Yes, you have been somewhere. But God didn't influence you to say nowhere. That's the enemy influencing you to say something that is not true. And so just as soon as you say nowhere, next you know you're lying. So I'm just using that as an example of how people have free will. Excuse me. People have free will and they have to cooperate with the enemy's plans. People choose whether or not they will do good or evil. The enemy absolutely influences systems, thoughts, behaviors. He influences people to cause wounds. He influences people to make destructive choices. So, what happens as a result of these choices? We got childhood trauma, we got betrayal, we got loss, we got somebody mishandling your heart, we got somebody that was supposed to protect you that hurt you some kind of way. Someone you trusted deeply disappoints you. You have something great happen to you, and the friend that you told is pissed. And so, someone that's a disappointment because you wanted your friend to be happy for you, right? So, that's a disappointment. And so, what happens is you get disappointed enough, and you get disappointed enough. Hi, Shamika. Thank you. You get disappointed enough. And at some point, you're going to say, I tell you what, that's what you did. You get disappointed enough, and you're going to say, you know what? I got this. Hmm. And so the enemy whispers the same lie that he whispered to Eve in the garden. God did this. God abandoned you. God cannot be trusted. You out here on your own. You got to protect yourself. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care. You can't trust nobody. That's not God talking to you. Hi, Tanisha. That's not God saying that. God doesn't send his son to die for the sins of the whole world so that the whole world can be up in heaven with him when they die, to then turn around and while you on the earth do some to abandon you, to leave you to protect yourself, to put you in a place where you can't depend on anyone. But in the hurt of the moment, when your emotions and your feelings are running rampant, which we have talked about this before, we can't let them run rampant because we when your feelings run rampant, you think stupid stuff. Your feelings are usually foolish. Your feelings are usually the one that's got you doing Jasmine Sullivan in somebody's car. Those are feelings. That's not God. So he puts these thoughts into your mind. God did this. God abandoned you. God cannot be trusted. Because I've heard it. I've asked it. Why would a God that's supposed to be so loving let this happen? Nobody ever goes to the part of the Bible where they say that Satan got kicked out of heaven and is now roaming around on earth. Satan got kicked out of heaven and is roaming around on earth. You see my eyes for the effect. Satan is roaming around on earth, seeking whom he can devour, seeking somewhere to steal, kill, and destroy somebody's life. That's not God doing that. That's not God doing that. Evil just exists in the world, and evil's name is Satan. So, after enough pain, after enough disappointment, you start building your life around self-protection instead of trusting God. This is where we develop, the people who you tease and they say, oh, she's such a control freak. She got to take charge of everything. She got to be the boss of everybody. Something happened to make him or her choose that. Something happened to make people say, I just can't trust nobody. That's where control develops. That's where hyper independence develops. That's where emotional walls develop. That's where you start blocking people out and walling yourself in. That's why people say, I can only trust myself. Nobody, I don't say this. I mean, I have said it, but I don't say it now. I can only trust myself. Nobody ever shows up for me. If I won't do it, it won't get done. I can't depend on people. I can never let my guard down. And these are people that go to church. These are people that, work on all the committees because, they're in charge of all the committees. And so they do everything. They do everything. Outwardly, you can use me as an example. Outwardly, I still love God. I still serve God. I was still singing. I was still praying, helping, showing up faithfully, all the things, doing all the church activities. I was doing, but was not being. But inwardly, trust has been crushed by what has happened in the person's life. If you're with me, put a 5 in the comments. Proverbs 8:14 says, a man's spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit, who can bear? A crushed spirit is what happens when disappointment and betrayal and grief and abandonment and exhaustion and emotional injury compound over time. Now, let me tell you why that's bad. I was the person who would carry everything. My husband complains about this frequently. So I've had to unlearn some things. He'll say, Karen, let's talk about managing the money. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. And, I'll come up with a plan. We'll have a brief conversation. And Stephen operates away, and I operate away. Hey, Romy. And so, in my view, it needs to happen this way. Like the plan needs to be. We got a plan. And in my head, I have a way that I think the plan should go, right? Who doesn't? In Stephen's mind, the plan is going along just fine. Now, when the stuff does not look like I think it should look, I start doing some more extra stuff. I do. And so not 3 weeks ago, he said, Karen, we come up with a plan and you tell me to do something, and then you turn around and you take it back over. He's right. I do. You take it back over. Because why? Because I'm scared that something won't happen right. Why? Because I've had some disappointments in life. Because I mean, in a relationship, you have disappointments, right? And so I've had some disappointments in life. I've had some instances where he had it under control and I didn't think he did. And so it was a whole mess, right? And so that's something that I'm working out. But that's something that came about because some distrust, some disappointment, some I got it, some betrayals, some loss happened in my life. And so it's always, I can handle it. I'll do it. I'll take care of it. Now keep on. Keep on with that. Because what happened to your girl? What happened to your girl is that a lot of stuff happened all at one time. Read about it in the book. I'll write about it later. When my body got a chance, when my body realized, when my nervous system realized, because your nervous system be doing some whole stuff all on its own. When my nervous system realized, oh, we safe now. Your girl about collapsed. Shut down. Shut down. And when I say shut down, I mean like I slept for days. I didn't get up to eat. I got up to drink some water. I got up to go to the bathroom. Now this is the thing. I didn't choose this. I didn't get in the bed and say, I'm going to lay down because I'm tired and I need some rest. I got in the bed because it was a bedtime. And my body said, sis, we're shutting you down because you don't know how to act, because you have taken on too much for too long. And because Stephen was concerned, because he was like, I ain't never seen this girl do this. Stephen really didn't leave the house because he hadn't started teaching at this point. So he didn't really leave the house much because he was like, I ain't never seen her do this before. And so I'm saying to you, man, woman of God, I am saying to you, don't carry it all. Don't live in that space where you have to do it all, because it will show up in your physical body. So what can we do? What can we do? I'm so glad you asked. Psalm 62:8 is an important verse. When you're carrying a lot of stuff and you don't know what to do with it, you really want to trust God. You really want to trust God, but you really don't know how. Let's start right here. Psalm 62. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. You know what that means? Tell him about it in no uncertain terms. Tell him about it. If you got to go somewhere and holler, because you can't holler at home because the people might think you look off your rocker. Get you somewhere. I didn't do this. This is why I crashed out. I didn't do this. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. He tells us all the time, cast all your cares on him. But because of all the things that humans have done, we just carry everything like we can do it all. Can't do it all. We wasn't built to do it all. So the instruction is trust him in this verse. Trust him at all times. That's number one. Pour out your heart. Pour out your heart before him. That's number two. Number three, let him become a refuge. Refuge means your protection. God never asked wounded people to pretend that they weren't hurting. He invites us to bring the hurt to him. And so then he can take us step by step and rebuild the trust. When I crashed out, one of the things that happened was I wasn't working anymore. And I wasn't expecting to not be working at that particular time. But I also didn't need to be working at that particular time because my system needed the rest. So when my system got enough rest, guess what happened? Somebody called and offered me a job. It was all the job I needed. It was a part-time job, 15 hours a week. I did that for a month. And then after that, somebody called my husband and he got a full-time job after working part-time because he was in school. So he got the full-time job. So now the God who is my refuge has given me some part-time employment, and he has given my husband some full-time employment, making more than I was making when I was working the full-time job that I had just been released from. Are you with me? Is anybody still out there? Put a 3 in the comments if you are still with me. Did y'all hear what I said? He shut me down. Well, my body shut itself down because I was doing too much, because I was walking around and I got it itis. I was working full time and then I wasn't. Stephen was working part time. Then I got a part time job. And then he took Stephen from working part time to working full time, making more money than what I was working at my full time job. So then I start saying, oh, God really does mean to take care of me better than I can take care of myself. So the thing that we have to do is we have to separate who God is from what people did. Go back and listen to yesterday. I told y'all that he told me while I was driving down our Highway 430, untangle me from your daddy. I had to separate him. I had to separate God from the times that my daddy disappointed me. Now, my daddy didn't disappoint me a lot, but when he did, it really kind of hurt my feelings because I was used to him saying yes. So what you have to do now is take the time to build a relationship because you got to this place because the enemy whispered those words to you. The enemy whispered the words, God did this. God let it happen. God abandoned you. God betrayed you. Blah, blah, blah. He's saying this no all the whole time. It's him doing the stealing, killing, and destroying. But we believed it. We build a life based on that belief. Well, we get to change our belief and we get to take the time and walk with God to build a relationship. It takes experiencing God. It takes giving him credit for the good things that have happened, right? But be mindful that every time you start learning that God is trustworthy, the enemy is going to show up and try to introduce fear, discouragement, disappointment, confusion, delay, offense, or frustration to convince you to retreat back into self protection. Because trusting in God changes everything. Trusting in God is paramount in being able to forgive. Trusting in God is paramount to being able to release control. Trusting in God is paramount in putting yourself, as I said yesterday, in a child's place. Your place as a child of God is to be willing and obedient to what he tells you to do. Now, what he tells you to do sometimes may seem crazy to you because you don't have all the answers. But when you put yourself in a child's place, you take yourself out of survival into dependence on the one that created the whole world. Then you can start building your identity based on what he said. You have to trust him to believe his word, to base your identity upon what he said so that you can be the you that he created. This is the real work of healing. Learning how to trust God again after life taught you not to trust anyone. All right? So this is how distrust enters into the world, into your life. And we want you to get to the place where you learn how to trust him. Okay? That is our lesson for today. I hope that it has helped you. And I hope that I will see you tomorrow. If you want some one-on-one time with me, feel free. Michelle, if you have a link, go ahead and put it up there where they can contact me and set up some time. We're still running a special. But if not, that's fine too. We are still doing 45 minutes for $30. You can get on in here. We can talk about trust. We can talk about forgiveness. We can talk about confidence, all the things. If not, I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Gosh, this week is going by fast. I will see y'all tomorrow at 4:30. We're going to continue our talk about trust. Trust is what we're talking about in the month of May. In the month of May, we're talking about building trust in God. Trust is paramount to being able to forgive. So that's where we're spending a little time on it. So y'all come back tomorrow for more Tea and Truth with Karen Booth. Love y'all. See y'all later.